Good morning. It's Monday, August 2nd, the day after the first day of the month, a date that in many cases is the date that the rent is due. And this year, the rent is due for over 11 million people. These are the people who were shielded by the Eviction Moratorium. These are the people who are poor, who lost their job, who have been struggling through the pandemic more than most. And they have been shielded by this eviction moratorium. But it looks like somebody forgot about that date, because that moratorium has now run out. And Congress took off on recess, and the moratorium has not been extended. White House announced on Thursday that it would not ask the CDC to extend the moratorium again, and it called on Congress to take action. The Biden administration would have liked to extend it. It has been extended 4 times already. And given the rise of COVID cases due to the Delta variant, the White House felt that based upon a Supreme Court ruling that stated this moratorium really needed clear and specific congressional authorization, a brand new piece of legislation. That's what would be needed for the CDC to extend the moratorium past January 31st of this year. Now, this is a monumental screw-up, because there's no standard one place for this eviction moratorium. There are many agencies, many federal agencies, that have their own eviction moratoriums. Then there's a federal rental relief bill of $46 billion that is working its way through states and cities and local distribution points. But it's not working very fast, and it's not working very well. So when we look at this event, we recognize the fact that even though there was bipartisan recognition that this was a needed piece of legislation, it didn't happen on recess. And Pelosi gives some kind of excuse that they didn't realize this was going to happen. So who's running this country? Didn't they realize that the date was going to run out? With these eviction moratoriums in place, people were going to be evicted, and the states are just diddling around with the $46 billion. That's not happening very fast either. And Pelosi said, don't worry, we'll take care of this. We will look into this. But they're not looking into it before they go on recess. They plan to look into it after they come back from recess. It's a monumental screw-up. We've put 11 million people at risk of being on the streets. And that's the last place we want people to be right now, with the COVID variant, with the Delta variant running wild in the country. And there's no way to stop this thing. And the landlords, they don't have Rahmanis. Rahmanis is variant running wild in the country. And there's no way to stop this thing. And the landlords, they don't have Rahmanis. Rahmanis is pity. They don't have Rahmanis on the people that rent from them. The majority of these landlords will probably have those people out on the street as fast as they can. Now, can you imagine that, putting 11 million people out onto the streets, in addition to, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands or millions of homeless we have on the streets already? What is so important about taking off the very first day in August and coming back a month later after Labor Day? You know, you're running the country. We have a problem. We have a major problem. We have a Delta variation. We have an immigration problem. We have hundreds of problems to deal with in this country. Maybe if Congress would stay on the job until these things are straightened out, this country would be in better shape. We would be feeling much better about ourselves. But I don't see how we can feel better about ourselves, because every time you look around and depend on those who you have elected to serve the people and the country, they screw up and they don't do their jobs. Now, I'm not necessarily in favor of one side or the other. I'm a centrist at heart, I guess, but not really. I probably lean a little to the left. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which way you lean. This should not be a partisan issue at all. We have poor people in this country. Everybody should recognize that we have poor people in this country. It's bad enough we can't get a better, higher minimum wage. But a simple thing like extending the moratorium, which has been extended 4 times already, so it's not a big deal. But the big deal is it's extended in so many different places. There's no centrally located moratorium place. And so Biden speaks up very late in the game. On July 31st, he starts worrying about this. Now I recognize the fact that there's a million other things going on. And one could argue that this is not one of the highest priority things in the country. But there are too many things going on in this country right now that need attention. And I say that because we have so many things that need attention, then these people who get a month off, plus all kinds of other vacation periods, shouldn't be going home on August 1st. They should be straightening out what they have to get done. There's no reason for them to disappear for a whole month. How long would it have taken to get together a couple of committees and say, we got to have this law? Not that long. Not that long if it's really an emergency in the minds of these people. But it isn't an emergency in the minds of these people. There's nothing in this country right now that's an emergency. And so I feel very sorry for these 11 and some odd million people who, many of whom will be facing eviction. And if they can vote, they should vote these assholes out of office. And probably these are the very same people that in many states are going to be fighting against the new voting regulations that will keep these poor people from voting. So here we are, the moratorium ends, these people are on the streets, and they've lost the power to vote. What a mess. Think about that. Think about what a mess that is. And you may not feel as bad about that as I do, but it's just another indication of how poorly this country is being run and how little we really care about the people in this country. So I will leave you with those thoughts this morning, and hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.